I understand the question. It's a good question, but there's almost this fallacy that if you want to get better at K1 and Muay Thai for MMA, there's one particular fighter who's got a style that's already so well adapted and so good, and you just need to study them completely. Truth is, every kind of style, whether it's in the Muay Thai, the Muay Mats, the Muay Thais, the Muay Socks, the Muay Cows, the Muay Femurs, all these different styles, and then plus all the different approaches in kickboxing, can be carried over into MMA with the correct adjustments. That being said, I'll tell you the first people that come to mind when I think about good striking bases for MMA. Obviously, the people who've moved into MMA. Adesanya and Alex Pereira, who've had big success. Another one is Artem Levin. Generally people who don't rely on covering up with both hands and waiting for their turn, because that's a stupid strategy. I would never do that. Who's your ideas for good K1 fighters, Muay Thai fighters to study for MMA striking?
I mean, this is a bit more of a general thing, but Samart Payakaroon is really good because he is arguably the best striker in history, but also he has a YouTube channel where he's just showing shit tons of basics. Like, shit, you know, like, there is stuff on his YouTube channel that is perfectly applicable and great for anyone of any level to learn from. So Samart's a good one to look into because there's lots of videos of now old Samart instructing the stuff that he did. So that's great. You could,
like, when Max Holloway went to train with Samart, you'd think they'd do the fucking ninjaest moves, the craziest 100-punch combos, and all the footage is him just doing the most basic line drills, basic kick positioning drills, basic footwork and strike balance, weight transfer, this kind of stuff. They're not doing wombo combos.
yes. And then also, like, there are skills in Muay Thai that exist that are really, really easily translatable to MMA that people just overlook for some reason. Like, look at Muay Thai fighters who are very good when their kick gets caught. That is essentially single leg defense. Look at, like, proper clinches, like a Sakadao. You know, like, there's a lot of high underhooks, there's a lot of, like, body lock stuff. There's a lot of really good stuff that is very immediately translatable to wrestling. Just, it's getting ditched now generally anyway, but there was this notion a while ago that Muay Thai was just sort of like, you know, absence of footwork and they couldn't punch and the clinch was just two collars, you know, two collar ties. That notion's bollocks. Actually study the shit. There's fucking tons of stuff you can take.
Yeah, and it's talking about kicking. You can talk about, like, the Japanese style of kicking. You see a lot of K1 fighters do almost like a Takeru, a Masaki Noiri. You know, really good boys to study, just in striking in general. Some stuff you want to change if you're going to put it into MMA. But there's that Japanese kicking where it's kind of whippy. It's 45 degree, boom, it catches and it whips back. It can be quite hard to catch. But then you get the Thai kick where there's that big rotation, the big turn into it. Sometimes it can get caught. But in Thai, there's that big game of being able to have your kick caught and pull them into a clinch. Watch that recent fight, the rematch between Kunsunlek and Matsuda in Rajamandern World Series. Kunsunlek was kicking intentionally into the closed side, quite obvious, baiting Matsuda to either just block with his arms and get his arms bashed, or catch, and then he'd pull him into a clinch and knee him up his arse and elbow him and all this stuff. Other fighters to think of for K1 Muay Thai for MMA striking. So generally,
Poot Lawlek.
Yeah, he's a good footwork one. Generally, a lot of the Muay Femur guys, Ole Kiatonwe, without getting too deep in to the, you know, the intricacies of Muay Thai scoring, because that's its own thing. But a lot of people that use elbows as well. You know, what are the sports where elbows are allowed? Muay Thai and MMA. In Muay Thai, they have a name for elbow fighters, like Yodkan Puns. Like, they call them Muay Sok. It needs to be Muay Sok fighters in MMA. I can think of
Paul Felder, John Jones,
Matt Brown.
Yeah, those are your socks.
Yeah, Matt Brown is just beastly to study. Other ones that come to my head, there's a lot of the economic southpaws. The econo kickboxers, like late stage tension, really good. Toki Tamaru, because he's relying on movement, and generally people who have broader defenses, and a lot of the time it's people who don't rely on larger combinations, especially up in the weight classes. Way back in the day, when there was these kickboxers trying to move into MMA, not all of them were successful. Crow Cop, obviously, he got beat a lot by the top kickboxers, the Ernesto Hoost, but Crow Cop had a better style for MMA because he could just keep it long and throw one shot at a time, so he wasn't opening himself up for takedowns. He could just throw one big kick, one big left straight, and he wasn't too open for the takedowns. And that style probably translated better, especially to heavyweight MMA, than an Ernesto Hoost, even though Ernesto Hoost beat him multiple times. Anything else to add?
I tell you what though, the person to study, the person who had a successful kickboxing career and MMA career, the person who beat Ernesto Hoost, not once, but twice, Bob Sapp! You must study Bob Sapp, and you must learn to fight like Bob Sapp.
Bobble sapple bucho.